Got to give honor where honor is due. Good afternoon. Are we ready? Good afternoon. My name is Howard Gwynn. I'm the Commonwealth Attorney for the City of Newport News. And what we're here today for is to make an announcement in a very important case here in Newport News. The first thing I want to do is let folk know that ethically I can't talk about the facts of this particular case, and I will tell you why in just a second. There's a rule of professional responsibility for lawyers in Virginia. It's Rule 3.6. It's titled Trial Publicity. And it says, quote, a lawyer participating in or associated with the investigation or the prosecution or the defense of a criminal matter that may be tried by a jury shall not make or participate in making an extrajudicial statement that a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication that the lawyer knows or should know will have a substantial likelihood of interfering with the fairness of the trial by a jury. A lawyer should exercise reasonable care to prevent employees and associates from making an extrajudicial statement that the lawyer would be prohibited from making under the rule. So again, I'm not going to answer any questions about the case because of that rule, because I don't want to run afoul of it. But the purpose of this meeting today is to announce that, as you know, back on April 30th of 2017, Keir Johnson and 8-month-old daughter Chloe disappeared, and they have not been seen since that time. We have been working very diligently on that case since that time, and I'm happy to announce that last Friday around noon, Carlos Johnson, who is Chloe's father, was arrested in a traffic stop on the interstate in the city of Newport News. This case has required an incredible amount of work. If you look to my left, you see a cart full of binders. Each one of those binders represents evidence in this particular case. There are 21 of them. There are also a bunch of thumb drives that represent all the hard work that members of the Newport News Police Department, the State Police, the FBI, and the Attorney General's Office have put into this case. And so for the last 7 years, I want everybody to know we haven't been sitting on our hands, but the focus of everything that we've done has been to bring the person responsible for the murder of these two beautiful people to justice. The next thing I want to do is introduce the persons that are standing behind me. To my left is Jacqueline Edwards, who's one of the lawyers of my staff who's on the team in this case. Behind her is Molly Newton from the Attorney General's Office, who's also on our team. Valerie Muth is one of my deputies who's been working with me for 26 years. She's in charge of this team. Now, one particular thing about Valerie that you should note is that we've only had one no-body case in the history of the city of Newport News. And Valerie, a year and a half ago, successfully prosecuted that case. It was Adrian Lewis. And Adrian Lewis, given Valerie's efforts and the efforts of her team, received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Standing immediately behind me is the Attorney General, Jason Miyares, and next to him is Steve Drew. So at this time, I'm going to give the Attorney General an opportunity to make remarks.
Thank you, and I want to thank Commonwealth's Attorney Howard Gwynn for his incredible work and partnership in this matter. When I took office as Attorney General, I recognized the pressing need to address and invest in unresolved cases throughout the Commonwealth. Because oftentimes when you talk to victims and their families, their biggest fear is that their loved one will just become a statistic, just another number, and that they will be forgotten. This led, obviously, to a reorganization of my office early on in my administration, of the creation of the Special Investigation, Cold Cases, and Actual Innocence section, at the time led by Theo Stamos. The purpose was to provide resources and bodies to support local law enforcement and our local Commonwealth attorneys, also to provide intelligence and collaborative efforts. In other words, to provide additional resources and help on some of these cold cases. The mission was simple, a relentless pursuit of justice. I want to personally thank those from the Office of the Attorney General that have been involved in this case. Our former Assistant AGs, Jeff Howell and Phil Figura, Andrew Parker, obviously Molly Newton, and Jeremy Key in the Attorney General's office, and obviously Theo Stamos and Brandon Wroblewski as well. They've been incredible partners on this case as well. The reality is this breakthrough occurred because of a collaboration with our Newport News Police Department, with the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, and with the great men and women that work in the Attorney General's office. With this simple idea that I know that Howard Gwynn shares with our Police Chief Drew and so many behind me, which is this: every victim deserves to have their story heard. My hope is obviously this case and others will bring closure and comfort to victims' family. Together, we will stand with our law enforcement partners. We'll continue to work with our partners throughout the Commonwealth to bring closure to families, because your safety is our mission. We want to make sure our victims' stories are heard. And again, I want to thank and applaud our Commonwealth's Attorney Howard Gwynn for his leadership in making sure that these victims were not just another number. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our great police chief, Chief Drew.
Well, I'm just going to have a few remarks. I appreciate you joining us today on this holiday. My first thought goes to Keir and Chloe's family, a beautiful little girl and her family. We were able to talk to their family over the weekend and Friday. We had our police academy graduation Friday, and at the same time that was going on, like Mr. Gwynn stated, about 12:30, our suspect was taken into custody. It was very strategic in how that played out. Again, we can't go into those cases, but he was taken into custody without incident. Later that evening, we were able to make contact with the family and share that news with them. And I, too, would like to thank the Commonwealth Attorney General for their partnerships and relationship. I think that has made all the difference. I'd also like to thank Amber Rogers and Aaron Thornton and the whole detective division. As both individuals know, that these cases take a long time to put together, and we only get one shot at this. So I understand some, at times, frustration and length, but it has been ongoing. And I appreciate those late nights and conversations, anniversaries, and talking with family. It matters. How we treat victims' family, it matters. And I'm just appreciative of the work that this department has done. Many of the officers that are here today, that this is the very first family. This is the very first family when I got to Newport News in 2018, and Mr. Gwynn set me down and said, this is a family you need to meet. It was the very first meeting that I had, and we promised him that we would stay focused on this case, that they won't be forgotten. I know that we can't bring anyone back, but hopefully this will provide some closure. So again, I just want to say thank you, sir, for the partnership, the relationship that we have, a phone call away, and now we'll let this play out in a court of law. Thank you.
One of the things I want to add to what Chief Drew said is when he took office in the summer of 2018, there was a function here at the police department, a meet and greet. And I got a chance to meet Steve. And Steve and I, as we were walking out of the building, I told him the most important case in the city of Newport News was the disappearance and murder of Keir and Chloe Johnson. And the most dangerous person in Newport News was a person who committed those offenses. Also want to say that, and I can't say too much about the Attorney General and his efforts, because as you can see from this vast volume of information, it took a lot of time and effort to go through that information. And really the turning point in this case is when I talked to Theo Stamos, as Mr. Millares has mentioned, and she was enthusiastic about helping us. And then she talked to our Attorney General, and he was enthusiastic about helping us as well. And the turning point was when he assigned 3 prosecutors to help us. And there have been 6 total prosecutors working on this case throughout. And again, we have not been sitting on our hands. I want to say also that, quiet as it's kept, and a lot of people don't know, is that the state police provided a tremendous amount of resources to us as well. And this was the FBI. As recently as 2 months ago, people from the behavior unit from the FBI were here assisting us in the interview with witnesses, which turned out to be incredibly critical. The last thing I want to say before I take some general questions is that even though someone has been arrested, the job is only beginning. Even though somebody has been arrested, we know that in the last 7 years, there are people in this community who have information about this case. people who have information about this case that can help bring closure to a family that has suffered for 7 years, almost 8. And so I want to say to those people who have information about this case that first of all, I want you to take a look at this picture. And I want you to look at these two people. And if you have information about this case that will help us successfully prosecute it, please come forward. And if this is not enough to motivate you, because it's been enough to motivate us every day. I've looked at this picture every day as motivation for today's date. If this is not enough to motivate you and you have information about this case, please know that there is still a $35,000 reward outstanding for information that will help us successfully prosecute this case. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming. This has been a great day for the City of Newport News, but again, the work is only beginning. It is not over. We will put maximum effort, as we have every day in this case, not only into the investigation of the case, but in the successful prosecution of the case. Now, if you have any general questions, I'm happy to take those.
Can you say what Mr. Johnson's charged with? 2
counts of first-degree murder.
And just want to make sure I'm following things correctly. No bodies for Keir or Chloe.
That is correct. That is correct.
Were you actively searching for Mr. Johnson?
Were we searching for him? Mm-hmm. No, we've known where he was. We didn't have to search for him.
Can you elaborate on that?
No, I cannot.
Are you able to say at what point did he go from being maybe a person of interest to a suspect in this case?
Well, he's been a person of interest for some time. Any other questions?
2 cases of first-degree murder.
That is correct.
Do you anticipate any other charges?
It depends on where the facts go. There may be others, but those are the main ones. And those are the ones we focused on.
And I know you said there's still the $35,000 reward.
That is correct.
You all are not giving up hope and maybe finding out where the bodies are, things of that nature, correct? We are still searching. And again, I think as the facts unfold, that people will be amazed at the time and effort that was put into the case, the places that were searched, the places that were gone, the resources that were used to conduct those searches. Because one of the things that we know is as long as those persons are unfound, there's absolutely zero chance of closure for this family. And what we've tried to do is, as Jason said, we certainly try to bring justice to them. That's important. But oftentimes, closure is just as important. And when there are no bodies, there can be no closure. And so we made up maximum effort, and we will continue to make maximum effort every day of our lives that we are involved in this case.
Can you say where and when, or more about that traffic stop that led to that arrest?
Steve, want to come in?
Yeah, don't go anywhere. It'll just be a second. So I would just tell you that the traffic stop happened around 12 o'clock Friday. We were both at the graduation. There was a little tense as we were trying to do 2 things at one time. But I can tell you Chief Crozo and his team put a plan together with the detectives involved. The traffic stop was made on the interstate around the J. Clyde Morris off-ramp, and he was taken into custody without incident.
Has he been cooperative throughout this, I mean, from Friday on, or at this point?
When you say cooperative, what do you mean by
I
cooperative?
mean, obviously it took a while for you to find somebody, but since his arrest, has he been cooperative?
Well, he's been arrested. I don't know if you say he was cooperative or uncooperative. I'm not sure.
Is the spelling for his name CARLOSJOHNSON?
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
Are we able to know his age by chance?
Do we know what his age is, Val?
46.
I have to release with some more details on booking, but
Gotcha, thank you so much. And what makes this just a case that just fuels the fight for justice and closure for this family, for all of you? Like you said, this is evidence that this is something that you all are
Right,
passionate about,
right.
getting answers for this family.
Well, I will tell you, all you have to do is look at this picture. And if you're not fueled by this picture to make sure that there's justice for these folks, then you're in the wrong profession. If you can't feel passion and commitment when you see this photograph, when you see this beautiful little child, you see her mother, if you can't be fueled by that, you're in the wrong business. All right, thank you very much.
This one on your left, and we'll work on this one. Number 2, right? Number 2. Evidence here. So I have no, I was surprised when I saw those.
Could we get a shot of the whole team with the evidence finders? Real quick, Allie, do you have?
I'm on it. I'm on it, Joshua. Molly, can you put your purse? Yeah. Just hide it behind there. Thank you. Okay, everybody in? Okay. I don't know.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Very good photos. Man, you know, I'll tell you, man, you are awesome chief of police, bro. You are. And I will tell you, one of the best things I've been able to meet you. And we part of something. I'm I remember you got set up. I remember that outfit you rocked. Yeah, thank you so much. It's about the thumb drive.
Yeah, that's true.
If they put all the stuff on the thumb drive, you know, and so I basically had to bring this.
That was the best one I ever did. That was the best one I ever did. Disappeared?
She's representing the traffic ticket, so she gave me all the keys there. And the PD's office gave me either.
Do you want that?
Yeah, I'll go with this. One-on-one interviews. You need to give them her t-shirt.
Gives you a great visual reminder of what actual investigations are like. It's not what you see. It's painstaking.
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot. Did you drive down?
Yes.
I know we're expecting some pretty gnarly weather this week, so.
We keep in Southwest Virginia, it's not raw. Another route. So this region's been really, most of the rest of the states have some.
Yeah, we've been getting gnarly, but now I think we might get the brunt of this one. First things first, we know you spell first and last name.
Yeah, Jason.
Thank you, sorry.
Jason Miyares, Miyares, Attorney General of Virginia.
First things first, Ms. Miyares, talk to me about the importance of you being here for this next step in this case.
Well, I think this is just a great example of collaboration, of when teams work together. We created this cold case unit in the Attorney General's office precisely for moments like this, so they could come in and go in with our local law enforcement leaders and partner with them and provide additional resources and additional bodies. And so I'm really satisfied. This is something that my team's been working on for almost since the beginning of my term as Attorney General, coming alongside. So this is the fruition of a lot of man hours of work and investigation.
Definitely, and clearly Newport News has been on the case, countless hours, as we can see here, bringing these updates and these. How do you think, the family will feel that there's a suspect now?
My hope is that the family feels a sense of closure and the beginning of the process of healing. But as Howard Gwynn noted, there's a lot of work to do now to move forward, but we are just really satisfied that the victims feel like they've had a voice today.
Definitely. And lastly, I know when you were up there, you said you don't want these families to think they're just a statistic when something like this happens. Does this just make you feel like you all are moving in the right direction of removing that stigma from a missing person?
Yeah, the loved ones in a missing person case, they just feel like their loved one sometimes is forgotten, and we just want them to realize, no, we want to be your voice. Your loved one is not forgotten. We're going to do that relentless pursuit of justice, no matter how long it takes.
Is there anything else you want to add about anything?
No, I think that's it.
So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Thank you so much. Thank y'all both.
Thank you, guys.
Gotcha. I'll wait after. Thank you so much. Thank you. First time meeting her. Oh, yeah, I was like, oh. Great to see you. So they were rolling on that. So we don't need to send them anything back, really. Okay.
Still be rolling on
Well, she sent that presser.
That was good. That was good stuff.
Yeah. Give you guys much job.
What the? She's smiling.
I'm gonna ask her how to. I'm gonna ask him how to say the name because I thought it was Keir, but it sounds like they're saying Keir. So I say
Here. It's always something.
yeah.
It's never how it looks.
Right.
Do you want to snag the chief before him?
Yeah, we're gonna finish this first.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
No, yeah, I was just wondering how you wanted to do it.
I figured Miara's was a good one to get because
He's
not at these regularly. I feel like.
No, that was the primary for sure.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Thank you. What the freak is up with all these?
I know, man. I don't want to get to a
Drew, we grab you as well for a quick minute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for y'all's great work on all of this. Just a few questions
No
for
worries,
you.
no worries.
We freed up.
You good?
Yep, awesome. Thank you so much.
Mike, follow me.
Yep, you'll follow me. Thank you. Matt will tell us when we're ready. Okay, first things first, how do you feel reaching this step in a case like this?
I will tell you, when I got, so it was a little challenging for us. We had our police academy graduation on Friday, and at the same time, I kept looking back and forth with Chief Creswell, where we at, and we had some breaks, and he'd give me some, we're still waiting. When we got the word to go ahead and make the arrest, that traffic stop, it went without incident. There were no concerns. We did do a high-risk stop. Once I was notified that he was in custody, it's kind of like there was just a little bit of a wait, right? The next thing for me immediately went to, I want to talk to that family. I was able to do that. I was able to talk to her sister, Tyr, Friday evening. That was a hard conversation. It was one that I've been looking forward to. I understand the frustrations that people have, but I think what unites all of us is the feeling, is that heart. And I remember the first time that I met her and her family, and I remember the conversation we had, and I understand frustrations and timelines, but we only get one shot, and we've got to make sure that we put the best case forward. And now that this plays out now in a courtroom, right, that's the next phase. So I know there's still a long way to go, but the partnership and cooperation has been great. From our federal, state, local partners, the Commonwealth Attorney, the Attorney General's office, the support that we've got from our mayor, our city council, investing in technology that I think everybody wants to see. Jurors want to see that. So my hope is still people will come forward and share some information. But yeah, I think it was really probably Saturday morning when I woke up and me and Mr. Gwynn shared a